Okay, let's talk a little bit about what's going on, what we've seen, all that kind of stuff. I don't know if my mic is working. I think it is. Okay. We've had a strong uptrend. It's changed directions. Right now, it's not really showing. I mean, yes, it's showing the potential to hold because you do have distance to the zero line, but you also have a ton of strength in the MACDs to the upside. So you want to be cautious about taking any trade directly from an area. Every time it's held out, the MACDs have gone higher on the 610. So this may be a day where things don't come from areas that you really have to watch the price. But I'm not willing to say it just yet because it's just getting started. Remove these so we can stay focused on what we see here instead of what boxes are telling us. I have a cold. I'm really sorry. This would be the spot to take the short if you're going to. It's too early in the day for me. I need to wait another 5-10 minutes to see what kind of day it's going to decide to be. Because it looks like it still wants to go up. So what makes me say it looks like it still wants to go up? You know, guys, a lot about learning to trade. It is reading the price action. It is reading what the indicators are telling you, but it's also a little bit of intuition after a while. So I've learned to read what the price bars look like. This bar comes down and closes here. This is the only reaction we had in the MACDs, even though this bar tried to pull down. We're well above the zero line, and we have a lot of strength in the MACDs to the upside on the 1597. That does not mean that this won't push down, but right now it's really trying to get back. I mean, the last 2 days have been nothing but up and up and up. And so it's kind of whipped over in the overnight before everything was opened. I see this look a lot, and it just kind of curves up to it. And a lot of times when you get that curve around and coming back up, you don't really have a sharp move to the downside. That's not saying it won't happen, but that's what I notice a lot of times. If you're going to take a short, this is definitely where you would take it from, right here. I'll see how it reacts once it crosses the areas. I like to be on the right side of the area and see the pullback. That's and when I say the right side of the area, I mean below these items here, below these 3 EMAs. But that's if you're looking to take the short, which is what the market is set up for at the moment. But that's where it where you have to really start paying attention to what the things are telling you. So right now there's a little bit of a fight. Some people are saying, okay, look, this is supposed to be going up from here. You've got some other people trying to push it down. The market is full of emotions, okay? And you have to control yours in order to not get wrapped up in the game to lose the money. And that may mean that you miss a couple of trades. Who cares? You can miss those. It just means that you're going to be, there's a higher percentage of you being correct when you do take the proper trade. Here's another thing. All these little bits of pullbacks, MACDs are still strong to the upside. You've got distance to the zero line. I'm really itching to take a long trade right now, but I'm going to wait because it's still really early. It's 8:39. It's only 9 minutes into the market. I'm just going to wait a minute. But what I will do, just in case I'm prepared, I will have this sitting off in the distance. You know, and sometimes what people do, they'll have them sitting on both sides because this is fighting. I wouldn't start off that way, guys. But, you know, that's always there as an option. I'm waiting to see if we get a little bit of divergence here and it pushes back up. Right now, though, everything is still in line for the short trades. You've got the 1597. Below that is the 610. And the 233 will cross this very easily. Now, am I just thinking this because I've seen an uptrend for so long the last couple of days? Or am I thinking this because I'm really reading what the market is telling me? So we are still at the area to take the trade to the downside. But look at these long bars closing at the top. MACDs are really pushing up. We're back above things on the 610. So this is where I'm going. I'm just itching to take a long trade. Patience. Patience is what makes everything happen. Now, there is also an issue with being too patient because then you miss the trades when they do happen. Yeah. Once it breaks past this area and pulls back to it just a little bit, I'll be in a long trade. But right now we're still in, I mean, that's what I'm anticipating to happen. I'm anticipating to break up above this area that's just given us a little bit of resistance, give a slight little pullback to it, and then I'll be in the long trade. We're just going to delete that and get it out of the way. Whew, I can't take it anymore. We're going to be breaking past this area. Whew. We got to break up past it. Right there, we're right at it. Now, I also want to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I really want to get in right at this bar, so I'm at least behind here. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's going to be right here where I want to get in. So I want to see that pull back to there. We're off to the races. And it may go off without me at this point because I saw the long. I did not take it because I needed a little bit more confirmation for myself to be comfortable. It still hasn't closed past that high, but the 1597 says it's going to. All right, so give me a pullback. Give mama a pullback. And we're in. I sing to myself a lot, guys. I don't have the music going today, which I usually do. So, I'm sorry. You'll just have to deal with that. I don't want my stop to be right here at this low, but I may have to go up one more tick and just go for it. I don't like that the 610 has not pulled up and is going. I really want that to pull up and go above the 1597 or show me the potential to with some angle to it. The 1597 is flat right now, and this is what happens. You know, you start to talk yourself out of what you know is the right trade to take. And take mama. All right, looks like I may have to move it up one more tick, but we're just going to wait. Nope. We're going to miss this one. If it doesn't pull back, you got a little bit of potential for divergence, but you can see it's not going to last. You've got a lot of strength in those MACDs. Okay, let it pull back one more tick. Yeah, apparently I call myself Mama too. So, yeah, not going to get this one. Well, I don't know. I'm not going to say I'm not. I'm just going to be patient and wait. Let it pull back. Let it get me. I'm almost thinking I might just pull it back that one more tick again. No, nope. I'm just going to let it go from here. And I'll talk to you about stop placement once this puts me into the trade, if it does. No. This is giving me some indication that it's about to push up pretty hard. What I'd love to see right now is a little bit of a deeper pullback right here with the MACD staying strong to the upside, and that's even more confirmation that I'm in at the right spot. I don't want to take it any higher than this right now, though, because I've got to think about where my stop placement is going to be. If my stop placement is going to be in the right place, right now it needs to be back behind here. Pretty soon it's going to need to be back behind here, which is a couple of ticks back behind there. It's really pulling away from that 233 EMA, which you usually see a snapback when it gives a decent pull away from there, like this. Pulls away, snaps back. So I'm just going to wait right here for it to do its thing. Starting to see the angle in the 610 EMA. Starting to see the angle curving up in the 1597 EMA. I need to silence my phone. All right. Okay, here's where I'm going to have to start taking and trusting that 233 EMA and taking trades off of that area. If it still gives me that pullback, that would be lovely. We got it locked and loaded. Ready to go. Right now, I'd like to see this 610 go right above the 233. They're close together, which gives a lot of, it's like that retraction before a snap. You know, it's just pulling back. It's the, you know, the arrow before you let it go. The bow, the arrow, I don't know. I may not be good at metaphors, but I understand trading. Give Mama a pullback. Okay. This is where I want to see it. Come back just a little bit more. Starting to see the behavior in the MACDs agreeing with that. Ah, shit. I'm not going to catch this. I'm going to move up to where I'm going to catch it. Sorry, guys. Sorry for cussing. That's my pullback. That's as far as it's going to go. And this has been happening the last few days, right? It's been just giving that little tiny pullbacks and keeps going. So I need to be aware of that. I need to pay attention to that. And I need to adjust my trading for that. see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I can go up. Yeah, I can go up one more. Put Mama in. There we go. Sorry, I know I call myself Mama. All right. And now we just have a little bit of faith. So let's say this trade doesn't work out. Let's say it comes back and hits my stop. Am I going to beat myself up over it? No. I'm going to be prepared for the next one that comes along. I am working on taking these trades from the 233 EMA because I'm working on trusting it. So, you know, if I got in a little late, then that's what happens. If I got in a little early, that's what happens. But I'm paying attention and I'm reading what it's telling me. Look at these bars too. These are pulling back. This is the only reaction in your 1597 MACDs. They're not turning. They're still a little bit higher than each previous one. Heck, give me a little bit deeper retracement. I'll be prepared for it. I may even put in another contract if it shows me a deeper retracement and a little bit more movement to the upside. Equals that low pivot, pushes up. There we go. Let's watch it take off. So some people may be getting a little nervous because the MACDs are coming down a little bit, but look how weak that downward movement is. Look at the distance that you have to the zero line. So even if it pulls back a little bit stronger right now, which it's trying to do, you still have a lot of distance to that zero line. You're above the zero line here, so you're looking for the long trades, and it's still continuing to the upside. The MACDs are still saying this is going up. You're creating a little bit of a floor here. So once this does take off past here, I'm going to move my stop, up a little bit. I always want, and that's what I was going to talk to you about the stop. I always want to have my stop behind the last little floor that was created. So there was one here, so if I'd have gotten in here, then I'd be 2 ticks behind here. If I'd have gotten in here, I'd be, 2 ticks behind that area once I start moving up. This one, I wouldn't be very far behind. I would probably be pretty close, because if it was coming back around to that area, it's going to a spot where you don't want the market to go and still be in that trade. So keeping a conscious risk on your trades is a big thing. There we go. Yep. The 610 EMA is now starting to cross the 1597 EMA. You're starting to get some angle and spacing to, some angle. I'm sorry, not spacing. The spacing is between the BBs is what I look at for that. I also look between here. This I see as a false strength to the downside, even though they're spread far apart. The 1597 EMA is kind of flat still at that time. Everything kind of makes this like belly, right? It's just an arch. And in that arch, it doesn't really hold ever. It just kind of flips back to the opposite side. Now, let's talk a little bit about potential targets. Okay. First target, if this moved 100% of this current move, this is where I need to get out. So once it gets up to that area, I am going to look and say, okay, what's it telling me now? I also like to look in a little bit shorter term. Let's see. We'll go right here, here, and here. Where do things start to line up? That may be a little bit quick term, so let me take that one off, actually. I need a little bit more movements to be able to really determine more targets. I mean, I could go from here. It needs a little bit more movement. So we're creating a bit of a ceiling. We really want to get past this ceiling. It's starting to show me a bit of a snap back to the area. I'm having a bit of divergence. So I'm not nervous. I'm just watching. If it takes me out, that's fine. I'll look for my next trade setup. But everything is lining up to go in this direction. I also watch as the tick counter is counting down. I don't like to make a decision until I can see, really what the true placement is going to be of these things. And now also remember, we had a ton of divergence kicking off on the previous days, but we had a strong trending market. Now, that strong trending market isn't going to last forever, okay? I mean, well, it may, who knows? But you have to be aware of when it's really trying to make a change. And if you've had a strong trending market for a couple of days, it may take a couple of days to make that change in the opposite direction. I really want this to push past here, but it's going to do whatever it chooses to do. It's hanging out in this area. Your MACDs are still going higher on your 1597. You're starting to get distance from the zero line. You still have distance from the zero line here. Nothing's changed. That's one of the things that I have to remind myself when these type of things happen. Nothing's changed. I'm just going to continue to watch it. I do have to step away for a moment and fill up my water. All right, and this is the life of a stay-at-home mom or whatever. I have the housekeepers that should probably be here in the next 20 minutes. So then life starts going off as it normally does at that time. I have my son who's going to be calling me in a little bit to tell me that I need to come up and sign a test that he took that he needed to retake. So, I have those type of things going on in my mind when this is happening at times. But this morning, before I started trading, after I dropped the kids off, I sat in the car and I just reminded myself that I am a force to be reckoned with, that I know how to read the market, that I understand this, that if something goes wrong in the market, it's not my fault unless I'm really not paying attention and I'm not being responsible. But I'm looking at these bars now, and you can close is pushing up higher. They're really working now to push this up higher. So we've created a floor here. Now you make the decision once it's starting to cross this area. I want to see a close past this area before I move my stop. And it's really working to do that. It's just not done it quite yet. We still have the quote-unquote potential for divergence, but guys, remember the potential for divergence is not divergence. And look, we're going to get that close. Yeah, and any one of these bars, anywhere right in here would have been a totally acceptable area to get into the trade. Don't feel like, oh my God, I didn't catch the bottom of this bar, I'm not a great trader. No, you now, 1, 2, still below everything. And that puts me right at a point in risk with my 2-point target sitting off there. Right now, I really want to see this. It still hasn't closed past there, guys. Has not closed past there. It's giving me the, oh, it has over here. Yeah, so there we go. Now we got to close past there. All right, let's let this roll. I may even move my stop up one more tick because we do have another little bit of a begin of a push up here. I like to be a little bit more patient than that if possible. I don't like that it really hasn't closed further, but you know, everything's starting to line up. And that's just, you know, me second guessing my decisions, because that is part of being a human being, part of being a trader, you know, those type of things. I want to see this 1597 start to curve to the upside a little bit more. But right now, you know, it's just kind of hanging out. All right, so it's pushing back pretty hard now, right? On the 610 it is. 1597, it's curved just a little bit. And this may come back and get me. And that just may be what happens. But we're going to be patient, and I'm going to wait for the next trade setup. It's showing a lot of strength trying to push back. Got some definite angle and spacing to the 1597 or to the 610 MACDs, and there may be news coming out right now too. I don't pay attention to news. I know, I know that's something that we preach. I just don't. So it gave a pretty hard pushback in the 610 MACDs. This is all that happened in the 1597 MACDs. There's really not a lot saying, oh my God, this is coming out. You know, we're going to lose on this trade. It's just saying, hey, you know, news may have come out. It may have been a little push that gave it to us there. I still had everything in the right position. I'm still comfortable, just waiting. It's a waiting game, guys. That's what it is. It's waiting, it's confidence, that's all it is. And look, we're still above the zero line. We still got everything in line here. It was just a little erratic move. I'm not going to let it scare me. Once we push past this area and close again, I'll move my stop up. But in reality, nothing's changed. We're just kind of hanging out, watching what's happening. We have created a bit of a ceiling. Your MACDs on your 1590 or in your 610 are trying to play the catch-up game. And we're just kind of chilling and waiting. Yeah, and I know Marina will probably smack me for saying I don't pay attention to news. I'm not too worried about that. The only time I really pay attention to news is when we have FOMC minutes. The day does not move very quickly when we have FOMC minutes. And then you have these giant, crazy swings. Well, it used to be that way. It's not quite so much that way anymore. But you get these big old swings, and then it's really tough to trade. It will fly past your stop. So those are days that you really got to pay attention to. I don't pay attention too much with the news because typically it still continues in the same direction. News doesn't typically change the entire trend of the market. It may give you a deep pushback, but it doesn't change it. It's fighting this area. It doesn't want to push past it, but let's just watch it. So I'm going to watch my 610 MACDs. If they really start to curl to the downside, then I may start to think, maybe I'll move my stop up just a little bit more. But otherwise, I'm just waiting. There's still 45 ticks left on that. Everything is still in the right direction. So this may be our first indication of a little bit of a curl, but we're still waiting. It hasn't really curled. It's just kind of sitting there above the zero line. We still have a lot of distance above the zero line here on the 1597. We still got a lot of stuff in favor of this going to the upside. Heck, you know, if you even wanted to attempt to get in, this would be the spot again. Pretty much the same price, just right here. I'm not going to put another one in on it right now. I'm just going to watch it. So no real curl to the upside, just kind of hung out there. Starting to see it trying to really give that strength in the opposite direction, or in the correct direction, where everything is in line. Everything is starting to say, this is the way that we're going. It's tough watching this, isn't it? Just watching it. Because you think, oh my God, it gave this little push in the opposite direction. I want to get out. But you don't, because it's still in your favor. And if it doesn't work, it's fine. Starting to try and give that pushback. Do I want to sit there? Or do I want to wait where I'm supposed to stay? That's the question you have to ask yourself at that point. We're starting to get a little bit of a decent pushback. There we go. And it took us out. And that is absolutely fine. So what do we do next? We wait for the next trade setup. So it's starting to try and push hard to the downside, right? Now it's going, okay, we never exceeded this area. We're starting to push hard to the downside. Now it's getting the roll, which took me out. And really, I kind of had a feeling it was starting to go that way. I just really wanted to show you that it's okay to take a loss. Now you start looking for the next trade setup. And once you get this kind of bar and it doesn't exceed past there, probably going to go in the opposite direction. But that's a little hard to explain to you guys about this type of bar with the close at the area, but it's pulling away and things aren't really starting to push up too hard. So now it's proven to me we have had a shift to the downside. We've had a shift to the upside. Now we're trying to shift back down to the downside. So what are we looking for next? Are we looking for a short trade? Are we looking for the long trade? It's kind of hard to determine, isn't it? I'm still looking right now because our MACDs are strong down on the 1597, but we've got a lot of weakness here now. Things are not in the proper direction, so we're just going to kind of wait. Log bar, close at the top. Got about 5 minutes till my maids show up. This is really trying to give us a good push down. Still waiting for this to kind of catch up. Now, had I gotten him back here when I was seeing the first indication of the long trade, guess what? I would have had my 2 points and I would have been out. But that's all right. Let's see what this move does to really determine what kind of day this is going to be. You'd like to stay down, wouldn't you? Because you're below everything on the 610. But the 1597 isn't agreeing with that. And the 1597 to me is king. So it was just giving you a deeper retracement before it went back to the upside. Hasn't given me an option to get in of any kind. So I'm just going to wait. And guys, you have to experience these kind of days. You have to experience loss and take it just as though it was part of the game. I mean, and that is true with loss. Loss is just part of the game. We're all going to go through it. We're all going to feel it. It's going to happen. But you just really got to pay attention to what it's telling you, what other signals you have around you, in order to continue on for the next day. I mean, you can take that to, to heart. Had a pretty decent push down, a very small retracement in the MACDs on the 1597. So right now, what we're seeing is a really big wedge. You can't really determine where to take these trades at this point from the, like to take them from these areas, because they're so flat and they're not strong. I do see the potential for a long trade, but it's a little bit erratic. I want to wait. Let's see if I did get in this. Let's look at this. We want to be 2 ticks behind here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is where we'd be getting in. Can even get a little deeper pullback. There we go. You're still above the 0 line here. To me, you're still looking for long trades. You have this long bar close at the top. You are creating a wedge. So you wouldn't expect it to really pull back at this point. I don't like the long bars. They look scary when they're long. I still like that the 610 EMA is above the 1597. It's kind of flattening out a little bit. Yeah, let's see it go from here. One way or another, I'm gonna find you. Think any music? It's just pulling back and getting ready to take off. Now I've got 2 points of reference. That's a good one. And then right in between there is a good one. Here she blows. So this is our first stopping point. We struggled with this area before. MACDs are starting to show a lot of strength up. We've gotten back above everything on the 1597 and this, or sorry, on the 610, which is where we want to be. So we're at this area of resistance. What tells me this resistance is going to break? And it's the reaction of everything. The MACDs are spreading apart. They're rolling at the zero line here. Yeah, you got a little bit of divergence. Is this a super strong area? No, it held up because we had news, and news pushed it back just a little bit. Stopped me out. Oh well, that's my bad for not paying attention to news. I mean, I wouldn't have paid attention to it anyways, even if I'd have known it was there. So here's where I really want to see a stop, or I'm sorry, a close beyond this area. Once that happens, we move 2 ticks behind here, and we keep going. This was our first stop area. We knew that it was going to happen. Here's your next opportunity to get in as everything's starting to spread out. This is like the beginning opportunity to get in. Things are starting to spread out. MACDs are back above the zero line. You've had this tight little crunch down to everything. So now I'm looking for it to explode in my direction. Just like the calm before the storm, everything's getting quieter and quieter and pulling in. And then it's just going to take off. You are starting to see a little bit of the potential for divergence on the 1597. But that doesn't create divergence, it's just the potential. I like this little bar here. This just needs to push up in that direction. It's that little pullback before it takes off. Oh, housekeepers are here. I guess it'll have to be on its own over there. Yep, still sitting there. At this time, I'm just going to let it do its thing, and I'm going to go get my laundry moving. How was the Super Bowl?
Oh, so good.
Yeah, I had a good time.
Yes,
Yeah.
I had a good time.
That's good. I heard it got really, really packed. Yeah, some more Fabuloso?
Yes.
Okay, I'll write it on the list.
Lifetime for the toilet.
Lysol for the toilet?
Yes. Okay.
All right, I'll write it down.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, seriously, sorry. Yeah, thank you. Is there no Lysol in the laundry room?
Let me see.
There might be some in there. I thought there were some big bottles. All right, interesting life. Yeah, nothing's changed. This is still going in the right direction. Actually, like 1, 2. Oh. I can't do it yet, though. I gotta wait till it closes beyond here. It's my rules. Gosh, there's like 9 million entries right in here as it's all squeezing together. All your EMAs are in the right direction. Everything is still staying up. Yes, it pushed down here, whatever. Don't worry about that. It really didn't change anything whenever you saw it right here. It was the proper thing to do. You know, it just was to continue looking for the long trades. When this just sat here and sat here and sat here, and the BBs just slowly curved up and then pushed up, sat here, sat here, sat here, slowly curved down just a little bit, but still above the zero line. It's sitting kind of flat. This has not changed. Here we go. Now we're on a roll. Let's see it close past here, and we're good to go. So because I was waiting on this one, I was really, really late on my entry, right? It was really back here. Market had just opened. I was nervous about it a little bit. I mean, that's part of life. So I got in a little late. It took me out. That's cool. I'm good with it. Let's watch this sucker run to our next target. I'm over here doing a dance. I'm going to go actually 2 ticks below this line right here. I may be able to go further though. It's going to pull back to that area that held up everything for so long. I'm going to put it back where it was. What I want to see now is all 3 of these starting to angle to the upside. Spread open more, you know. I mean, this had a little bit more of a conservative look than this did to me. This is like the belly of the beast, I guess you could say. I don't know. That's the best way I can explain it. All right, so it's pulling back into the area that held things up. We already anticipate that. If this really starts to push off from here, I'm moving my stop right there. I'm moving my stop 2 ticks behind here, which would put me about a tick in profit. I need music. Sorry that I'm singing to y'all. I don't like the bars being that big. I just don't like it. They look too intimidating when they're that big to me. So I try to make them smaller. So are we creating our next ceiling? Is that what we're trying to do? Our next ceiling to break through? Once it takes off, I'm going to go right there. I like the MACDs on the 1597. They've got some angle and spacing between them. This is not taken off yet though, so I can't move it. Actually, it may take me out before I can move my stop. Whew, I just want to keep moving it up higher because I have this really good feeling with how long it's stayed there and held up. Usually that's a good indication of you're going to get a really decent push. The longer that it takes to move, the bigger the move usually is after. But I'm just going to wait. Oh, I want to move that target up further, but I'm just going to wait, guys. I'm going to let it go. The next cluster isn't until up here, and it hasn't had giant moves, so I'm just going to let it do its thing. MACDs are saying, here we go, baby. So it's touched my target so far, has not taken me out. It needs to close up beyond this area. Let's take this line out of here. I also want to take these off. I do like how all three of these, look at them, all starting to really push to the upside. I refuse to lose anything on this at this point because it has already gone to my 2-point target. Abby, no ma'am. That's really nothing. Like strength up. These 2 pull downs, that's all you got. And let's watch it push through. Bam. There we go. Next target I said was way up here. I think it was around, let's look at it. It was up here. Be a little more conservative. Do that last high, close. So if you held on to that trade, that would be the next target. So I had 2 trades today. pretty much done. I've been trading for an hour and 1 minute. That's long enough for me. I got all kinds of things going on in my house. So it could pull back. It could go again. This video is going to be extremely long already. But you can see I'm actually really glad that I had a loss in here, because I wanted you to see that, you know, things can change. I did see I did see a little bit of the potential for change right in here. Definitely by the time it really gave me confirmation of the change, it was too late for me to get out. So it hit my stop. Such is life, right? And so then what we do next is we say, okay, this didn't work out. Let's look for the next stop. It had a little bit of a fake out breakout right here, and you can really read that by, you know, it gave a strong push, but then gave a strong pullback. This bar right here is my lifeline for understanding that. It's a long bar, close at the top. You've got this tiny, tiny bar before it. You're still above the 0 line on your higher time frame. As you can tell, the higher time frame is like my lifeline. Marina would have been out with this trade with a point, and that's her style of trading, and that is a wonderful style of trading. I don't like to take just a point. I was reading what it was telling me. It did give me a little bit decent pullback. I could have exited and saved some profits. I mean, really. And if I'm working with you, I probably would have said, hey, look, it was telling you it was a decent pushback. Go ahead and take your stop out, which it took it out at the right point. I mean, it really, had I taken it out, it may have been a tick or two above. So it's not a big deal. And then once it pulled back above, everything stayed in line right here. This gave me the indication, yes, we're still continuing up. It gave you a lot more entries right at this point. You know, I was really late on my entry when I saw it back here. I held off because I wanted to be patient and wait. And, you know, that's just what happens. That's part of trading. Here is your next. If you pull back into the 233 and you like entries from there, I'm not the biggest fan of it. Here's why. You know, I tend to lose with just simple pullbacks to the 233. It's because you have to manage those exits as much quicker exits a lot of times when you're taking those 233 trades, because they're quick pullbacks, quick exits, and you can see 2 trades in an hour. I hold on for the long run. I am going to let this run just a little bit. I'm going to step away. And so I just want to see if it comes up to this area where, you know, the high was previously overnight. And actually, let me go ahead, because I discussed it with you as it was happening, you know, right? It would probably be right in this point, maybe a tick or so higher, that you would be looking for that one. Here we go. Look at the spread between these guys starting to happen. Starting to really get more of an angle up. If you were going to take an exit, let's watch it. If you're going... And honestly, doing these have been helping me to take these 233s a little bit more, because I pretty much ignored them before. It has given you a reversal bar here, so if you're looking for an extremely conservative exit, that's it right there. Which is what? That's a point. Yeah. I don't keep my grids in the background. May not be quite a point. I think it was actually, yeah, that's a point. Although if you were trading by marinas, the point would have happened right here, and you had already been taken out. If you're trading by watching what the market is telling you, your exit is over here. So I guess what I'm doing is a little bit more intuitive trading, but I've been watching these markets for a very long time, and I've been able to teach people how to be intuitive as well. being intuitive doesn't mean you're always right either. I can, as I can't stress enough that the market is run by people, and most people are led by their emotions. Hell, I'm led by emotions, when it comes to my children, and sometimes when I'm driving down the road. It's becoming aware of them, though, is what helps me have control over them. Here would be your next 233, but I would be like sweating it because those MACDs are coming down super strong. But if you take them from the 233, I'm not willing to risk my account over it personally. If you take them from the 233, this would be, your area right in here. But this right here is so hard against it that I would not feel comfortable taking that trade. 1597 MACDs aren't sweating it just yet. Let's see, where would your stop be? Your stop would be about right here, I think. Let me spread this out so I can really see. 36.75. Be right behind here. I'll put both those arrows up there so you can see it for later if you're looking through it from here. Marina's stop versus and I call it Marina's stop just because, target, just because that's what is being taught in the course. This is what I call, just more of a, once you get through the course and you understand these things, your job is really to start understanding how it flows more that way, because the trade setups are not 100%. We know that. Neither is, my trading 100%. But paying attention, the price always seems to snap back here. Look how far it pulled away from any of the indicators. Every time it pulls away, what happens? It snaps back. Pulls away really far, it snaps back to that area. I don't know what it is about that. I don't know if, all the big traders, this is areas that they're using. I know these indicators are created off of, multiple days back, which gives you, what's happening in the past to predict the present. But when you have enough people using those type of things, and really in the long run, all the indicators are the same thing. The only ones I really put some faith in are the MACDs. I mean, like real strong faith in are the MACDs, because a BB is created for every bar that happens. Here's where trading from the 233 also makes things a little scary for me. It's just hung out here. Each BB is stronger down. If I had traded from the 233, I can guarantee you I would be looking to say, okay, it's time to get out. Let's get out of this. I would have pulled my stop up and said, let's go. Done. I don't want to be in this. Okay? But that's me. I don't like 233 trades. I could see this giving us a pretty decent pullback too. But guys, this has run for 1 hour and 10 minutes. I really want to see if this goes up to the next area that we had discussed. Maybe I'll just pause it and we'll come back to it. Actually, I'm coming back to this because I want to tell you what would have made my pain threshold say that I would have gotten out here and I didn't do it here. In reality, I saw this one right here. I probably should have taken my exit. I wanted to hold a little bit more because I knew that news was probably coming out and it was affecting that, which it affected it pretty deeply. This strength in the MACDs was what reached my pain threshold. I said, oh my God. But look, it's got everything in its favor for that trade to the upside, right? You still got 90 miles to the zero line here. You do here as well. And you know what? I'm not going to pause anymore. I'm just going to let it run. We can talk about where the next exits would have been had I been in this trade. While that's happening, Okay, so it's reached that previous pivot point. If you are worried about, you know, the area here, since it hit that area and came down, then you're looking for an exit here. But the MACDs on the 610 say, I'm sorry, on the 1597 say this is going to continue. And actually, it would be, I want to put it right where that dot was, because that's exactly where you would be hitting, you know, moving your stop to, or your target to, in order to get out. Let's see if it goes all the way. Could go all the way. I want it to go way up here, just for funsies. I'm putting that there because I want to see where it's at. Oh, I could have just drawn a line. The boy is calling. Hello? Yes. So I need to be there by 11, basically. 11:05. You're starting to get hives again? Boom! There it went. Right to it. Yeah. Okay, sorry. I get a little too excited about it. And you know, I mean, like I said, I get nervous about trading this area, and that's me. And it is something that I am actively working on getting over, and even drawing these arrows on them have really helped me to see where my pain threshold was. And I don't take these because look at what I would have done. I would have exited that trade, and then I would have been like, ah, dude, I would have been so frustrated with myself. Look, it went all the way up to this Fibonacci line, like clockwork. Yeah. So, guys, this stuff is amazing. It's exciting. It can be done. So today I ended up 2.5 points up with my 2 trades. I lost a point. I have 2 contracts, okay? So I lost a point here, 2 points. Let's go ahead and write that on there really quick. So I'm just going to minus 1.0 with 2 contracts. Minus 2.0, right? Okay. Then my next one that I took, I got plus 2.25. 4.5. Had I taken, I'm not going to add these trades in, but had I taken this trade, let's see, it is 236.5 to 237.5, so that would have been 2 more points. Had I taken this one and exited, I would have lost half a point. Had you taken this one and stayed in it from 236.5 to 237.75. So look, I mean, it's starting to add up. Had you gone up to this point, had I held this trade all the way up to this point, shoot, that is from 234.75 to 238.75. 4 points right there. Bam, done. Right? So my total today was 2.5 points. Oop. 2 trades, 4 contracts, 1 win, 1 loss. Plus 2.5. So there we go. And that was in what? Started at, well, I got ready at 8:30. It is 9:45, 9:50. So I was sitting here for an hour and a half. Did the market for, no, not even that long. Hour and 20 minutes. Oh, not what I meant to do. I can never tell where you're at on this thing. Whatever. Sorry about my coughing, guys. I know it's probably not super beautiful, but hey, them's the breaks. All right. So, I want you guys to see. Today I had a ton of distractions. I took a loss. I still continued with the win. I had people showing up at my house. I had my son calling. I had the dog growling at people. So I had a lot of things going on. And that's just part of becoming a trader, is learning to, even though the distractions are there, I didn't freak out. I didn't exit this trade because I knew what I still anticipated. And I managed my risk properly. And, you know, we just let it go. I did not take this trade because I wasn't comfortable with it. And you see what I would have done had I taken that trade. Now, had I taken this one, I would have made some profits off of it, but not here. I would have taken a loss. But the proper exits were shown to you at that point, or, you know, where I would have had my target. And it's so beautiful how it went directly to that 138 line. And, you know, this may still continue up to the next one because it's giving you a pullback into that area that I don't like to trade into. But, you know, there you go, guys. So I hope you enjoy it. And if you got any questions, get in contact with me. And happy trading.